Hey, what's up, everybody? Nerd Variety. Part of Nerd Variety here. Hayden, myself, and
Josh, it's me. Hey, everybody.
yes. And you know what just came out?
Just came out, as in like Thursday night,
Yeah.
Thursday, December 16th, 2021.
Okay.
Yeah.
Spider-Man: No Way Home.
No Way Home.
Right. And this was not, we keep expecting Spider-Man work from home, but we still haven't gotten that one.
Yeah. Should have been a cool like short from him for like to put out last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Finally...
or a teaser for from if they wanted to give us a teaser from last year, that would have been cool.
Yeah. But no, so we finally got this movie. This has been obviously highly anticipated for a while now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And so, Josh, does it live up to the hype, in your opinion?
It lives up to the hype. And so is everything you want in a Spider-Man movie that deals with multiverse stuff,
Right.
and gives you all of the emotional stakes that you want.
Right. And I just want to put this out there before we get too far into anything. If we haven't said yet, this is going to be a spoiler-full discussion. So there's spoilers abound in here. If you don't want spoilers, go see it. What are you doing?
Yeah. Hayden, when did you see this?
I actually just saw this last night.
Okay.
I moved the night that it came out, and then I worked, and then I did something on Friday.
Yeah.
I can't think of what, but yeah, so I haven't really had a chance. And then finally last night, my new roommate is just like, "Hey, I'm gonna go see Spider-Man. You want to go?" I'm like, "Yes."
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. So it was really cool. I do want to see it again for sure. I think I'll be seeing it maybe next week. I don't know. I've been talking to my mom about it because she wants to see it, and I'm like, I'm gonna see it again. Yeah. So trying to just figure out when that's gonna be, since so I'll either see it like this week or next week, like after Christmas. I'm not entirely sure.
Right.
And
it's not going anywhere for a while. So
right. And I want to see it somewhere where I can hear everything. I don't know if that was an issue in your theater.
I saw it Thursday night because I had plans to go to Atlanta that Friday morning. So I wanted to go ahead and see it because I knew that the longer I went, the more likely I would see some spoilers, even if I wasn't looking for them. So I went and saw it that Thursday night. Our theater had a 7:30 showing, and our theater, and we had like big good people in there. It wasn't like full like Infinity War Endgame full,
but
it was still a good crowd. And there were points that we'll talk about where everybody got rowdy, but that was, I think, that kind of added to that was more of the theater experience that you get for a movie that everyone is so excited about. And there's something there was something for everyone to get that were like, oh my God, this is happening. This is happening in the movie. Holy crap.
Right.
But I definitely want to see it just to see everything, like knowing what's going to happen, but then just getting the chance to enjoy it and just be able to break down everything that I may have missed.
Right.
Catch everything that I may have missed.
Right. Because definitely let's just get it out there. And I think this was this was, as my roommate put it, this was probably the worst kept secret in Hollywood. That Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield make their appearances as Peter Parker Spider-Man. Of course it was going to happen. Like we all but knew it was going to happen.
Right.
If it didn't happen,
put in when.
Sorry, go ahead.
You're right. If it didn't happen, we would have rioted.
Right. Like if they didn't do it, it would have just been so hated.
Yeah, I knew from the beginning, because I think they had put out there they were trying to get Andrew and Toby for the movie, and then they kind of went back and said like, oh, don't know. I don't think they're going to be in the movie. There's too much red tape around that. I think we're just going to stick with having the villains from those movies. But there's just writing was on the wall, and I was just like the joke that oh, it's just going to be like Holland playing the roles of Toby's Spider-Man and Andrew's Spider-Man, just wearing the suits. But I knew they're going to be in the movie,
right? And they were not wasted. I would say they were used pretty well. They did come in pretty late into the movie.
Yeah, later than I assumed. I figured we were gonna get a little bit of Andrew, a little bit of, and then him go off somewhere, and then a little bit of Toby maybe, and then or a little bit of Andrew, and then at the very end, Toby and Andrew with Holland.
Right. How did you feel about? Okay, there's just so many parts to this movie.
Yeah. Do you want to start from the beginning, or how do you want to because I was thinking we could just go from what stuck out from the start to the very end.
So obviously the start, first of all, I kind of loved that J. Jonah Jameson, obviously he had come back at the end of No Way Home, or Far From Home.
Yes.
J.K. Simmons, who, of course, the only J. Jonah Jameson that we need or want.
Right. I can't imagine anyone else in that role.
Right. So I kind of really liked that he was doing it from his basement with a green screen.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
The Alec Jones similarities were just so cringy, but it works for this version of J. Jonah.
Yeah. So, and we could jump to the end of that too, kind of bookend it, talking about him, where at the end of the movie, again, spoilers, obviously, as we've been talking, everybody gets their mind erased of that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and then,
or who Peter Parker is.
And so
Parker in general.
The whole movie, he's going on, obviously tearing apart Peter for being Spider-Man and all that. Mm-hmm. And then at the end, they go back to, well, if he was really, if he wasn't a villain, he would say who he is and he would unmask himself.
Yeah. Why are you hiding yourself?
Yeah.
Well, I know what will happen if I reveal myself.
Yeah, exactly. But no, so the beginning, it had a pretty good start, I would say. Interesting with May and Happy. I kind of forgot, were they dating before? Was that an actual thing? I couldn't remember for sure.
It was alluded to during Far From Home, and then at the very end they come out and say May said they had a fling, but Happy thought they were still involved, or he was assuming things were going a certain way, but
right.
And May wasn't putting anything on it. She was just putting we went out a couple times. It's just a little fling, maybe we may take it, go maybe seriously, may not, just wrong with life.
Yeah, so that was the thing that they started off with there, them just kind of ending it and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what more was the setup before they even got to the spell.
Think about
just dealing with everybody hating Peter.
Yeah, everybody everybody going to a frenzy that, oh crap, Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Spider-Man was behind those attacks in London, ordering those drone strikes, and this kid is a super genius criminal who somehow they believe Mysterio was the good guy after J. Jonah twisted everything.
Yeah, and then of course, I just had it in my head. I do this all the time. This is why I should prepare something. It was I don't know. I got nothing at this point. I'm tapped out.
So they go in for questioning, and that whole scene was hilarious. With them telling them don't say anything unless you have a lawyer present.
Yes.
And the lawyer
the lawyer. I knew this. Unfortunately, I knew this just before the movie came out, because I think it was spoiled on the internet just before it came out.
I was hearing rumors, and I was like, I'm trying to avoid any I had a feeling, but I was like, okay. And then what's his name? Kevin Feige and Amy Pascal. Kevin, well, I'm saying Kevin Feige and Pascal came out recently, a week ago, and said that. So Charlie Cox is going to be Daredevil in a future MCU project. We're gonna have him keep the role, and he's going to be our Matt Murdock Daredevil. And I feel like they did that because of that it was like he was going to be in the movie, and so they were trying to get like steer attention away from that. But that was like. And then, but he sat down, and I heard his voice. I'm like, I was so hyped.
I really liked him as Daredevil. I think he did a great job.
Oh yeah.
And actually, I'm sorry. Did they have 3 seasons of that?
Yes, 3 seasons on Netflix. Yeah.
Okay, so I never saw the third season. I don't think. I think I just saw the first 2.
Yeah, and the Defenders.
The Defenders, of course. Yeah. But no, that was great seeing him in there. Of course, it's like I'm a good lawyer, and like the brick comes through the window, he just catches it. So how did you do that?
Yeah.
I'm a really good lawyer.
Out of everything he could have said, that was the best line. I'm a really good lawyer.
Yeah.
That made me so glad to see.
Yeah. So that was a good appearance. I hope that they bring him back later as Daredevil in the MCU.
He's coming back.
Yeah,
he's coming back. It's just a matter of like where and when.
Yeah. So that was cool. And then of course, moving into the spell and everything. I like how they did the spell. And it was that's just a little piece of information that you didn't really get in the trailers, that he was trying to fix the spell to make it more like what Peter wanted. He just kept adding stuff to it though. And it's like, stop it.
And Peter's like, and how Wong described it as, that's a kind of a very unknown like language that you're using for the spell. So it could have a lot of consequences, especially with there being multiverse shenanigans going on right now.
Right. Also, speaking of Wong, how weird is it that he's now the Sorcerer Supreme?
I mean, it makes sense. I mean,
it does.
Someone had to take the role.
And Doctor Strange is just so like butthurt about that. It's just he's technically Sorcerer Supreme because I was blipped for 5 years. Yeah.
I could have swore I saw that he had gotten snapped, but I guess it works for the story that he was, he remained, and that he's kind of but Strange is just like, I'm the Sorcerer Supreme. Well, you should be, but because he did put a lot of work into into the whole figuring out what they need to do to stop Thanos. But yeah.
And they've been using Wong pretty well too. They used him in Shang-Chi.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. And then so the spell was cool. Of course, it broke the universe. Nobody forgot anything, but it switched it. I thought that was interesting. That was an interesting way to bring them in to the universe. It was bring in everybody from every universe that knew that Peter Parker was Spider-Man. So instead of the opposite. So that's interesting. And then of course the theater went quite wild as soon as we saw Doc Ock, even though we knew he was showing up in that exact moment because the trailers.
He was great, and I found it interesting they took him from, I see from the trailers it seemed like he was going to be like a temporary villain, and he wasn't one of the main. He was a threat, but he wasn't the main threat. But in that part, I was like, okay, he's just like, got some animosity towards Spider-Man for some reason, I guess, for letting him die, and then he attacks. MC Holland. He attacks MCU Peter. Then once he realizes that that's not his Peter, he backs off, and they kind of work together, or he gives him some insight. He didn't
hate Peter because he let him die. Because remember, he didn't know that he was going to die because they pulled all these people before they died.
That was something that I didn't that the movie revealed that they took them before they died somewhere, before they had their reckoning or before they passed on. So
you're talking about from the trailers. That was your thought.
Yeah, that was my theory there.
Yeah, no, so yeah, it was interesting how they actually, I'm glad they actually had a reason for all of that.
Yeah,
Instead of just saying like, yeah, here they are, why not?
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, it's an excuse for sure, but it's a good excuse.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, I had him come in, and then his
and that
arms,
was the
like
whole
that
point
was cool
of the
seeing
movie,
his arms like absorb the
the
nanobots
nanobots.
from Peter's suit.
And then Peter's just like, I control you now.
Like, Peter hacking his arms, that was genius. That was great.
Yeah, that was really cool.
And then Goblin showed up, and
Goblin showed up for like a
oh my
half a second.
god. But that his entrance was just like, oh crap, it's him.
It,
Even we saw that was the same shot for the trailer, that was still like, oh my god, it's Goblin.
yeah, just hearing that laugh and the bomb, seeing the
Yep.
bomb and everything, it's such a great entrance. And
Yeah.
can we just talk about perhaps the best thing in the movie, at least in my opinion? They used Willem Dafoe like they did not waste him at all. He was
Yes.
so well utilized.
He became like the quintessential Spider-Man villain that he's always been in the comics.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
and this is just, and he did like so much more than I assumed that was going to happen. What he was going to be.
I loved the costume. They made it like a like they do with costumes, they made it a more realistic reason for his original look. You know, with the purple hoodie and all that.
Yeah.
And they removed the mask for most of it, which
Yeah.
I think they did a great job with the costume. It was chef's kiss.
Yes. Beautiful. Just right.
They did, and they did the same thing with Electro's costume. You know, kind of.
Yeah.
It was very subtle, but they had like the mask thing kind of pop up.
They brought him back, and they didn't. I don't know how they explained like him looking, like looking like Jamie Foxx, looking like how Jamie Foxx would normally look versus how Max looked in the movie. But I guess he can manipulate his molecules or manipulate his appearance to how he wants to look.
Something.
But he looks good. He looks good, and they changed his character for the better too. They turned him from this bumbling, psycho nerd to out for revenge to a very kind of sarcastic, very. They gave him a lot of good humor in this movie. They really did.
Right,
and I liked how his powers were how his powers worked in this movie too.
Yeah, and they really made him like I mean, as weird as it might sound, I feel like they made him more believable because he Electro is pretty awesome, and he can he can get so much power, and so he gets addicted to it, obviously. So he just wants all of the power, and I was not expecting him to get a hold of the arc reactor. That was a clever turn.
That made sense because it was hard to tell in the trailers. It looked like he had maybe Jimmy rigged, but I figured he had Jimmy rigged some kind of device, some kind of like suit for himself instead of using what Spider-Man 2 gave him. And so now he has a new suit, and he's got he looks like more like a more accurate Electro than what 2 did for him.
Yeah. I mean, I thought they did a good job with him in Amazing Spider-Man 2, but I like his look so much better in this one.
Oh yeah, I like the yellow lightning. I like your comment about him being like just him loving the power and craving more power, because in the movie he was introduced in, he didn't have any power, and he was he finally got some. He was just like, okay, this is my thing now.
Yeah. And as kind of cheesy as it is, I think I love the musical like intro that he gets when he's like electrocuting them all and everything, kind of bouncing around there. I kind of love that.
Sandman shows up, not in the way I expected. He was actually helping Peter out for a second, and then he got a little paranoid. And
he was so back and forth in this movie. Which, I mean, that's kind of how he was in Spider-Man 3.
Yeah. He seemed like he was a good guy deep down, but he did have his motivation being his daughter, and not wanting to be taken advantage of.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think now. Did Eddie Brock know in Spider-Man 3 that Peter was Spider-Man?
Yeah. He because he saw Peter up on in the church tower when the symbiote was falling on him.
Right.
And even so, like, he would have gotten his memories from the symbiote.
Right. So
Yeah.
do you think they just didn't bring him in because Venom's already in the Sony Marvel universe?
I think it was a combination of him them not wanting to bother with that Venom, especially when they had a different Venom to work with. That
Yeah.
Now, I for one assumed that from watching, I saw the end of Let There Be Carnage, that post-credit scene, and then I think I saw some kind of like a leak trailer or a leak scene from No Way Home from like the internet, where it looked like Venom was in the movie, and he was like, it was a scene where he was throwing cars and causing like trouble in the streets, and Spider-Man was trying to avoid the cars. They may have been just a fabricated scene, but it looked like it was something from the movie. And I was like, oh crap, so this is the Sinister Six. This is, we have the five, and now Venom is the sixth villain, and he's gonna play a role in No Way Home somehow. But that didn't happen.
No. So we've covered most of the villains. I was interested.
Lizard.
It was interesting to see Lizard. Yeah, I was gonna say it was interesting to see Lizard come in.
Yeah.
Because I feel like he was one of the more forgettable ones. Actually, I think Spider-Man 1, or Amazing Spider-Man 1, people forget a lot.
Yeah. I mean, he's a classic kind of like one of the lower stakes villains, that because he's not as devious or I guess long enduring as like Green Goblin or Doc Ock or Venom or even Electro. He's Kirk Connors, who's trying to heal him to make himself better, but ends up turning into the Lizard, and the Lizard gets carried away with the idea of people him. He's the Lizard, and he wants everybody else to become a lizard person too, because that's evolution, quote unquote.
Yeah. So and they kind of treated him like he was received, basically, kind of like, oh yeah, he's there. He's just not that important or that menacing.
Yeah, you want to keep an eye on him, but he's not the main threat. And he kind of hangs back too, because he has his goals in mind, but he's not like, he's just not want to engage. He doesn't engage with everyone like the rest of them do.
Yeah. And there's someone else I was going to mention in there, and I don't remember who it was. I lost it.
That's all the villains.
Yeah, no, I mean, there was someone else that I was thinking of.
A Spider-Man villain, or just a character that was in the movie.
I can't remember. I keep doing that tonight. I keep losing my train of thought. I do that all the time anyways, though.
So Doctor Strange, he's aware of the situation. He becomes aware of what's going on, and he gives Peter
that was a cool fight.
Huh?
That was a cool fight in the mirror dimension.
That was dope. They had a train fight, and I was thinking that it was going to be like with Strange and Spider-Man versus another villain, but it was Strange and Spider-Man in the Mirrorverse. That was a good fight. Yeah,
and I love Peter just realizing, like, wait, this is just geometry. I love geometry.
It's like, you nerd.
Exactly. But that was great.
Yeah. And Peter realizing, and him and Ned and MJ realizing that, all these guys are just, they're not necessarily evil, but they, some of them died, some of them are just kind of, stuck in this, state of villainy, but they don't have to be. Maybe we can help them. Maybe we won't have to resign them to their fates, instead of just send them back to who knows what's going to happen to them.
And speaking of speaking of, Spider-Man kills a lot of his villains.
Oh
like,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
not something I thought of before. Like, oh damn.
I think it was the trend of the movies at the time, especially with the Raimi movies, the Tobey Maguire trilogy, because back then it was they wrote the movies in a way of like, okay, the good guy villain are going to fight here, the villain are going to fight, but at the end the villain's going to lose and die because that's what he deserves, yada yada yada, and the hero's going to move on with his journey. Make it like they made it like a typical action movie.
Yeah.
Even though those characters are a little more complex than that, and so they brought that complexity back in these movies. A little, they also did that in the Andrew Garfield movies too, where Lizard didn't end up dying; he just got put in prison somewhere.
Yeah.
I guess Electro just kind of became a kind of was overzealous, and he ended up just killing himself. But that's really all you can say about those are the only villains in there. Sandman didn't die, but I think he just got
he just like went away.
Yeah, he just went away and just got plucked out of, but he got plucked out of his universe while he was still alive.
And then who was it? Oh my gosh, I'm so scatterbrained. There's who else was in? Did Green Goblin from Andrew Garfield movies? Did he get killed? Did they kill him?
No, Harry, he became like whatever goblin that he became. He just he got put in prison somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Weren't there three villains in that one? Oh, well, there was Rhino, and they didn't really use him.
They advertised like, oh, it's Electro, Goblin, and Rhino. But they mentioned and Garfield mentions him in this movie, but
the guy fought a guy in a rhino suit.
yeah.
And I do like them. Just, you noticed how they just subtly, it wasn't even subtle, they ranked the Spider-Man.
they did that. Yeah.
But that seems a little bit.
That seems a little later, but going back to the like working with the villains. So Peter tries to start helping the villains using Stark Tech, and this is where his intentions are good, but it's just he's playing with a loaded gun, playing with a landmine here.
And of course, as soon as we see Norman talking to like May and all them, you're kind of like, I don't trust you.
No,
like this is Green Goblin. He is sneaky. I do not trust him.
He's sneaky SOB, and I was like, oh, this is I'm on the edge of my seat. I'm on heightened alert, but I'm also trying to see where this, because it seems like he was reverting back to his old Norman self, but that happened in the first Spider-Man movie, because he does that and he gets you. He's convincing, but no, he's still evil, and the Goblin side is not too far away.
Yeah. So I like how they dealt with that. And of course, he's like the mastermind. He's the Joker.
he is Spider-Man's Joker. I liked how they fixed Doc Ock. He was all angry and whiny and just complaining the whole time, but it was because he was miserable, and they put that chip on him, and he became like good old Doc Octavius. And then Peter's spider sense starts going off. Now in that scene, I was like, okay, he senses that Lizard is getting out, and the police and J. Jonah are downstairs, but the twist with Goblin having whatever he had, and it's like he's like, something's up here, and it's that was a good scene. Just like everything slows down, and you're like, what is he sensing? Like there's something clearly. What is he figuring out? And then he's like, and he's trying to figure out like, where is it coming from? Who is it? Where's the threat? Where's the threat?
There it is.
It's like that.
Yeah.
And then it's like, then Goblin turns turncoats, and it's like
turns on basically.
yeah. Goblin mode activated again. Yeah. And his monologues are just, his villain rants are just perfect.
They are. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then May dies.
That scene was a lot. Oh my God.
And with great power comes great responsibility.
I liked how they turned it into her, because we thought we were going to get Uncle Ben in this movie too. Like, we're actually going to see like Uncle Ben. Oh, this is what happened to him. This is his origin. This is they're gonna slide him into the story somehow. But his Uncle Ben is his Aunt May. I guess that there never was an Uncle Ben for him.
I guess the closest we had was Happy.
Yeah, and there was people theorized that Happy would be the one to get, but yeah, they killed Aunt Bay.
He keeps getting real close, doesn't he?
Oh yeah. But yeah, they offed Aunt Bay, and she had us on the edge of our seats for a minute because she got hit, but it's like, okay, she's fine. Oh, she's okay. She's okay. But they're both a little flustered, a little shaken up, and then she starts, doing her death rattle, and it's like, oh no, oh, poor Peter.
Right. Yeah.
Oh man, he didn't deserve that.
And then it's about then that Ned starts doing magic.
That was random. That was not what I was expecting for him.
Right. Like, it's just out of nowhere. He takes the sling ring and it's just like, hey, I can open portals now. Not very well.
Peter. He starts waving around. It's like, he's got magic. He has magic. It's like, okay, that's okay.
Yeah.
And that's how he opens the first portal. Our theater was like, because the writing was kind of on the wall there with like, find Peter Parker, and a portal opens in. It's a Spider-Man in an alley, and it's like, wait a minute, that looks off. And then he starts, hey Peter, come here, hey, come on over here, and then he waves back at him. It's like, wait, that's what's wrong there. And then he starts coming closer. Everyone in the theater starts freaking out.
Yeah.
Everyone in the theater starts freaking out. At least in my theater, anyway. They start freaking out.
No, me too.
And they're like, my cousin says, it's Toby. And then I would look, I got a glimpse of his eyes, and I was like, it's Andrew. And then he pops out, and the crowd goes wild. Like, our theater just goes into applause.
Yeah, mine too. Everybody screamed for like 2 minutes.
Yeah. It was so great.
Again, that's why I want to see it where I can hear everything.
Yeah. It was a good. That was just like a good theater experience. So everyone's just happy.
I mean, those are definitely good experiences.
Yeah.
But then you get, and of course he tries it again. And you're like, okay, so we're clearly going to see Toby here.
It's like,
and he doesn't have his suit on. He just kind of comes over, and it's like, oh.
But of course, thunderous applause because it's Toby. The OG Spider-Man, and it's like, oh crap! They're both in the same room, and they have a similar scene to like Into the Spider-Verse where they kind of like their spider sense goes off, and like they kind of get on edge with each other, but they're like, oh, we're the same person.
Yeah. And then their interactions are good, and of course MJ just being like, I need proof that you're Peter. Okay, sticks to the ceiling.
Proof that you're
I need you to crawl around some. No, I'm wait. It's like, and then like Ned's mother or something, I think.
Grandma.
It's like starts speaking what English or what language does she speak?
I don't know. It could be. I think that's Filipino. I'm not sure exactly.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But yeah. So then like goes on about like, can you get the cobweb?
And he's like, oh, sure, of course, man.
And then later, she just goes on speaking all this, and then she's just like, never mind, I get that.
Yeah, I'm going to bed. This is too much.
Yeah. And of course, then Peter's just like, yeah, no, I have my, Toby's like, yeah, I have my costume on. I just don't advertise it all the time.
Yeah, that's a little later. But they first meet with Holland and Peter, and they have just a great like scene where they kind of share who they are and talk about their similarities, and they try to bring him out of that grief, bring him out of his grief for and get him back on track to fight off the villains.
Right. And it is interesting that they each had their own thing, because you think about the differences that they did, and I like that they brought all of these together in the same thing.
Right.
Because like they didn't all have an Uncle Ben. I mean, Garfield did, I think. I can't remember how that happened actually.
Yeah. I think they had a death they felt responsible for. I guess Garfield Andrew's Spider-Man had like two that he was kind of responsible for, but Gwen was also his love interest that he
Gwen was the main one
that he that made him think that he could never have a relationship.
Speaking of, and skipping forward on that a bit, when he went after MJ, I was like, no, you're so bad at this. Don't you? Like that did not work out last time.
No, he knew that he had to prove himself, and I had a feeling that was going to happen in from the trailers, seeing her fall, and it's like, and again, like Holland Peter got hit by the Goblin, so he couldn't catch her, so Andrew goes after her
right in there.
He's like, I'm not messing this up, and he catches her, and
he's like, the crowd, I know how to do this properly, or I know how to do this improperly, so I'm gonna make sure to avoid that.
His PTSD kicks in. It's like, oh, we're not replaying this again. And he catches her, and of course my theater goes wild, and you can see the catharsis in him, and he's like, are you okay? And she's like, yeah, are you okay? I'm okay. I'm gonna be okay.
Also, going back again, sorry about skipping up like that. I also like how they addressed that Toby can randomly shoot spider webs out of his wrist.
Yes.
And they're like, they're asking the important questions here. Like, how do you do that? Like, does it just come from your wrist, or does it come from other places?
No, just my wrist. And both Amazing Spider-Man and MCU Spider-Man are just like, man, you know how long it takes me to make this? It takes all this time in the lab, and oh man, and then they did the meme where Ned's asking for Peter, and they are all like pointing, like, what, do you mean me, or do you mean that one, or this one?
It's like, Spider-Man, me? No, Peter. Me?
Wait, him or Peter me? Parker. Me or him?
Yeah, we're all Peter Parker.
We're Spider-Man. Me, and I'm Spider-Man. Yeah, over here, and him too. And that was a good subtle way to do the meme.
And of course, Ned finding out that Harry, their best friends, turned evil and tried to kill him and died or something. And it's like, he's like, I'm not feeling good about this all of a sudden.
It's like, maybe I should try to put some distance between me and my Peter.
Well, wasn't it at the end? Well, not even the end. It was near the beginning. Flash technically was his best friend, right?
So he says. Yeah. Best friend Peter Parker. It's like, are you sure about that?
It was great stuff, getting them connected, and of course seeing all their suits, their different suits together.
All them being.
They had some good new suits for Tom Holland. It was interesting. They just turned that one suit inside out, didn't they?
Yeah, we all thought that was like, is he got the black suit on? Because apparently Venom is in this universe now. We didn't know the extent of that, but he's in the universe. Maybe, and then it was like, oh, it's is that like a magic like suit that he can use to fight, the villains better? But no, it was just him turning his suit, like standard suit, his suit inside out, and it's like all the wires are exposed. Like, oh, okay, that's it's what a broke high school superhero would do,
Right. And I liked the new suit they gave him at the end. You didn't really get a good look at it because he was swinging around so much, but I liked it. They made it shiny.
They brought the colors a little bit. It looked like a combination of all of the other Spider-Man suits.
That was what I got from it, and that's what I think they were trying to get there.
Yeah, I hope we can get a better look at it later on, or maybe they'll release some artwork for it, just so we can kind of see it before they make more Spider-Man movies with him.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the big fight at the Statue of Liberty, did that feel very familiar to you?
Let's see.
It felt like they were referencing, well, not even just like the Tobey Maguire movies, but like all of them, you know, where they're really high up, they have this big thing going on. It's like all of the Spider-Man movies. That's just like a classic thing, it seems.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think of similar scenes. I mean, they fight at the bridge. In Spider-Man 1,
in Spider-Man 1, there was the whole thing where he was holding like the people off, and he wanted to drop them at the same time. It's basically big things where people can be dropped off from.
Right.
There's the clock tower in the Amazing Spider-Man 2. They were on the top of, I can't remember which tower it was, some like the Empire State Building, maybe. It was some tower in Amazing Spider-Man 1.
The Oscorp Tower. And then in Spider-Man 3, they were fighting at this tall skyscraper under construction.
Yeah. Spider-Man 2, I guess that wasn't really one. I don't remember, actually. I know they had the machine there, and they were close to water because he needed to drown it.
Yeah, their big one was the train scene, but they ended up fighting in like this old warehouse by the sea, by the docks.
Yeah.
In their final fight.
Yeah. So, but there is a lot of tall buildings that they're used to fighting at. So I felt like that was kind of a callback. To doing
Did you
that.
notice the Statue of Liberty had the Captain America shield?
Yeah. No, I didn't notice the giant shield that they used for a large part of that.
It's okay. Anyone would have missed it.
Yeah, no, it goes right over your head.
Yeah.
Okay. How much did you believe they were actually going to kill off Tobey Maguire?
It was a gut reaction of like, no, you don't, like that, don't, and the fear of like, could they really be doing this? Could they really be killing off like him? Because that would be kind of cruel.
Yeah.
Even for them. Like they already killed Aunt May off, and now they're gonna kill Toby. It's like, oh, they can't do this. They can't. I was trying to rationalize it. But then they kind of like made a joke out of it.
He's just like, oh no, I've been stabbed before.
I'm stabbed before. I'll just heal. I'm fine.
Yeah.
What do you think about them curing all the villains?
I liked it.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. It was an interesting way to do it. Again, it's one of those things, it made sense. I feel like it was kind of an excuse to be able to keep him around longer.
Or just to kind of help, I guess, Peter kind of be like, I guess,
definitely show him as a better Peter Parker, one that's not one that's not gonna just be like, well, let's kill him.
they're villains, kill him. Which I was kind of rooting for him to kill Goblin. I'm like, you can kill him, man. I mean, I understand, but you don't need to. It's not gonna be good for you.
Yeah.
It's kind of rooting for him for that, and it looked like he was hitting him hard. Like he was going
ham
on him.
Well, and that was kind of a callback to earlier, or when they foreshadowed it earlier. You know, when Garfield was talking about, I stopped pulling my punches. Like really just aggressive, and it's like, that's kind of what's happening here. Or when how Peter reacted when, you know, Goblin threatened Mary Jane in the first movie, threatened to kill her. And he was like, nope, I'm gonna beat the crap out of you now for even suggesting that. But they cured him. I don't know what that means for Norman now, given all the crap that he's done. But now he's cured, but he still, you know, did all that stuff. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, they cured all the villains. And then Strange sets a spell in motion to send all of Peter to make everyone in the world forget about Peter Parker. And did you notice that when he was trying to, before he enacted the spell, the multiverse started kind of opening up, and all of the people were coming through? Could you make out any characters?
Well, I mean, Rhino for sure. Rhino was the major
Yeah.
one that was obvious.
Yeah.
Scorpion, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw Craven.
Craven. I don't remember seeing Craven.
I saw Craven. It was just a guy with a big staff, big spear, and he had like some kind of some like robes on him.
Yeah, there was so much going on there though. So you have to. That's one of those things that I want to see. Like on a screen where I can pause it and look and figure out everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was interesting. That's definitely a big Easter egg sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And so yeah, of course they closed it, and that was a cool scene. Of course it gets sad at the end. With him just going back to MJ, and she has no idea who he is or anything.
Yeah.
And neither was Ned. And it's like
I was afraid that they were going to have Ned and MJ in a relationship when Ned came into the coffee shop. I was like, no, don't do this to him. Don't do this to that boy. Don't hurt him like that.
Yeah.
But a sad ending. Looks like he's but it looks like he's gonna manage by himself. He got it looks like the same apartment that was in the
that's what I was thinking.
That was in the Tobey
the
2
and 3.
Yeah, the movie, the
Tobey
first
Maguire
movies.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking when I saw that.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was supposed to be, but I don't know for sure.
It looked like it.
I think it was at least supposed to be a reference to it, if nothing else.
Yeah. But now he's got to take the GED because the school doesn't know who he is.
I know, and that's such a weird thing for me because doesn't he get into MIT in the comics?
Maybe. I mean, in the movies he's going to Columbia, or he's just going to, but he's going to a college, to a prestigious college because he's super smart.
Yeah. All right. Well, maybe that was it. But okay, mid-credits scene.
Yes.
Which was the mid-credit scene? I remember the post-credit scene.
Venom.
Oh yeah. So you saw Carnage, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So spoilers for that post-credit scene, at least. If you haven't seen it. That was, obviously Venom's like, on vacation or something, and then everything gets switched around and he gets pulled into the MCU. He sees Spider-Man on TV. He's like, "Ooh,
that guy.
I want him." Yeah. So here, this one just kind of picks up with him just kind of sitting around, like not having done anything yet, and being very curious.
He's just like, okay, where am I? What's going on? So there's a guy in a middle. There's a guy in a middle suit. There's a Hulk. There's Thanos and Infinity Stones and.
Yeah, just trying to figure all that out, and then he gets zapped back away to his universe. Yeah. Although they definitely set up Venom by having that symbiote stick around, and you see the twitch at the end.
Yeah, that got everybody excited too. It's like, oh crap, they're gonna bring in Venom somehow, some way or another.
Yeah. And then of course, for some reason, like half the people or more left the theater after that. I don't know why, because they're stupid.
Yeah.
And although they really held out for this one, they went far into the credits.
Yeah.
And so the post-credit scene, I was not expecting that. That's like a whole freaking trailer.
Basically, put the trailer for Multiverse of Madness at the end of the movie. I thought it was just going to be like a little scene to set up for it, but no,
me too.
Whole ass trailer.
Whole trailer. Scarlet Wanda is coming back. Scarlet Witch is coming back. Yeah.
Yep.
That's exciting. There's a bunch of other stuff too. Like there were a bunch of characters that they flashed them by so quickly. I want to be like, wait, who is that? Wait, let me see again.
Yeah.
but a lot of stuff going on in that. It's gonna be interesting for sure.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
and evil
and
Doctor Strange.
Oh man,
What if Doctor Strange?
Yes, Strange Supreme shows up and it's like, oh no, why is he here? And why does he sound like more villainous than what he was at the end of What If? Like, no, right. This is not good.
I'm so excited about that.
It's gonna be wild seeing him in live action Strange Supreme versus like regular Doctor Strange. Oh man, May is gonna be fun. May is gonna be so much fun.
Yeah, so I'm so excited about that. All right, so that was the movie. This has been a long review, it seems, pretty much. Is there anything else you want to talk about it before we look at wrapping up here?
No. I mean, if you haven't seen it, I mean, it's going to be out for. I'm sure you're going to have a whole month, a solid month to go see it.
The rest of the year.
In theaters to watch it, because theaters are making a lot of money off this movie.
Oh yeah, this has already passed what, like 253 million this weekend?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's no chance. There's no way it's definitely going over $1 billion.
Right. I'm like, this has got to be the highest grossing movie of the year already.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go see it again just to watch it, just to enjoy it again. I'll probably end up buying it when it comes out on DVD, Blu-ray.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm super excited about it. I loved it. Excited to see it again.
Yeah.
All right. So that was our spoiler full review of Spider-Man No Way Home. Do we think we're going to see Tom Holland as Spider-Man again? He's kind of been talking about not doing it anymore.
He was alluding to it, like, that he didn't want to be doing it for later than he wanted to be playing Spider-Man when he's in his 30s, but they did announce that he is going to be in 3 more MCU Spider-Man movies. So that, I think that's good though, because we can get, he's been in 3 Avenger-ish movies. He's been in 3 of his movies, but now we can have 3 more that kind of shows the other side of his, like, of the Spider-Man story. Like, we have him with the Avengers. We have him as a high school Peter Parker, but now we can see him as an adult and being an adult Spider-Man, and maybe see him pass the torch. I mean, I'm excited to see where they go with him.
Yeah, I would be excited to see a live action Miles Morales. I mean, I know they're doing Miles in Into the Spider-Verse, but even live action, I kind of expected him. I didn't expect. I kind of hoped for a Miles Morales appearance in this one.
They make the joke about there being a black Spider-Man in the multiverse.
They do, yeah.
But they also set up in Homecoming with Prowler's character, with Donald Glover's character, that Peter questions. He says he has a nephew living around there, and that nephew is Miles Morales. We don't know how old he is, but he's on the way. He's on the way.
Yeah. So that'll be cool.
Yes.
And I really do think they've been handling Tom Holland's Spider-Man movies a lot better than they've done the other ones.
Oh yeah, definitely.
They're at least more consistent, and they are working with a larger MCU. But this was an awesome culmination of like way longer than the MCU has been around. Since like what, 2001?
Spider-Man 1 came out in 2002.
Okay, I don't know why I always think Spider-Man 2 came out in 2002.
It came out in 2004. 3 came out in 2007. Amazing came out in 2012. Amazing 2 came out in 2014.
Yeah. So, it's been a culmination of like almost 20 years. It's about 20 years. Yeah, so it was really cool. I don't think we're going to get anything quite like it again. But,
they're welcome to try.
Yeah. All right. So thanks guys for watching or listening. Hopefully I can get this out before the end of the year if my software for editing is going to work. We otherwise, I mean, this isn't 2 parts. Worst case scenario, I can just put it out as is and not have to do any editing. So it might get out before our last like actual episode that we recorded.
Yeah, we have a catch-up episode with Hannah
Mhm.
that we're still working on putting out, but you'll see that one soon, as well as this one, as soon as we can.
Yeah. All right. So thank you guys for watching again. And I guess happy holidays if you're watching around this time.
Yeah.
Happy holidays anytime that you're watching it or listening.
Yeah. Season's greetings.
Yes. For whatever season. All right. So thanks, guys. And again, nerd out.
As always, nerd out.
As always, nerd out.